Hey MOMnation, it's Katie and
Beth.
So we are here with our little More Than a Mom series. For those of you who are familiar with what we have going on, then please do comment. We love all of your comments and participation and
the interaction is great.
It has been wonderful. So if you're just catching up with us, we're actually reading the book, The 4 Agreements.
It looks like this.
Looks like that. We are on the 4th agreement. Because we've been doing this for a little while.
I know. I think this is our 4th or 5th video. It's awesome.
Something like that. And we've been learning a lot, haven't we?
Yes. So much growth.
So much growth. Okay, so our 4th agreement
is always do your best.
What does that mean to you?
Always do your best.
In terms of?
In terms of the moment, I think one of the things that I got most out of this agreement was that your best is not the same from day to day or situation to situation. And we beat ourselves up so much as women that we need to just take a step back and recognize that, okay, this is the most that I can do. This is the best that I can do right now. And just be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. We don't have to make ourselves suffer for something that we have no control over. Like, for instance, everybody knows that I was really, really sick these last couple of weeks. Like, seriously thought I was going to die, not even funny. And
it's been bad this year.
It's been so bad. And normally, on any given day, I'm texting with a client, I'm planning a MOMnation event, I'm updating my Facebook status, I'm looking at property for another client, like all at the same time.
Multitasking.
Very much so. And it's just like a normal thing for me, and I can pull it off usually. Well, you guys, it was terrible. It took me at least an hour to write this really simple email while I was super sick. I couldn't operate my remote to my television. Like, I was just dumb. It didn't work. My brain didn't work. And I found myself getting really frustrated and putting myself through more, like I needed it, but putting myself through more anxiety and more just a negative emotion because my brain wouldn't work. Mm-hmm. And had I remembered what we were doing, because sometimes it's tough to remember this stuff, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
Had I remembered, I would be like, oh yeah, that chapter on always do your best. Well, right now, because I have a crazy sinus infection and the flu and all this gnarly stuff, right now, this is the best that I can do. And I need to be okay with that.
Yeah, you can never do more than your best, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes your best is just making sure your kids are all fed and they're not killing each other. And that's okay. And other times your best is cleaning your house top to bottom and having dinner ready when your spouse gets home, or going out to the park with your kids, or rocking a really awesome business meeting or something. Like, sometimes that's your best, and that's okay too. But there are variations of your best at any given time, and it's a matter of just being okay with what you can do physically, mentally, emotionally in that moment, and not beating yourself up because you're not perfect.
Right, like roll with the punches and just
go with the flow.
Yeah, and just be okay with that. And as long as you know in your heart, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, but as long as you know in your heart that you're performing at your best in this very moment, then there's no reason for you to judge yourself, for you to beat yourself up, for you to feel second best. Something that we do a lot, and as much as I've been going through this self-development stuff, I still do it, is we judge ourselves as compared to other people. So we're like, we know our insides intimately, right? And so we're judging our insides to their outsides.
Yeah. So
I look at Beth and I'm like, oh my goodness, how in the world can she create all of these amazing meals in the drop of a hat? And I could compare myself, which I don't really cook, we all know that.
You're getting better.
I am getting much better. I am getting much better. I should give myself a little bit more credit. But anyways, comparing my insides to Beth's outsides, she's got more training. She perhaps has more of a passion, and we all know that passion means everything when you're doing anything. It makes a huge difference. And so here I am beating myself up. Oh, I can't make that awesome vegan casserole in 7 minutes like Beth can, but I
can't sell a house, so
See? So it's all about sometimes, skill set and all of that experience, and maybe Beth has more help than I have or something. Who knows? But there are things that I can't see that allow Beth to perform at that level that perhaps I don't have.
Yeah, you never really know what's truly going on with someone else, and so it's just silly to try to compare yourself to what you see on Facebook, right?
Oh yes,
or what you see when you're out with your friends. They're gonna put on their best face for you, and they're gonna give you their best in that moment. But at home, that might not be their best. Their best might be different at home. I know that some days my best at home is lounging around in my pajamas, making sure the kids have food on the table, and literally just like laying there, because I don't know, some of you guys know my story, but some days are just really crappy and I don't have the emotional or mental capabilities of doing anything except what is like the bare requirements. And
that's a good point.
And that's okay. Like, it took me a long time, years, to just be okay with that. And it took a long time for my husband to be okay with that too. So go easy on your spouses. They are still learning what their best and your best is too.
And that's a good point. It's not always like, for me, I was physically ill and, the sinus infection and all of that kind of stuff. And that is what hindered me from perhaps doing my best that I would do when I was healthy or on a healthy day. But it's not all physical ailments either.
Right.
Perhaps there's something personal going on. Maybe there's, you lost somebody really close to you. You're going to perform a bit differently on your day-to-day tasks during that grieving time than prior to that happening, or, once you're able to work through that.
Well, and I mean, think about this. After we have a baby, our best is not normal.
That's true.
We just had a baby. So our best after having a baby is laying around and healing. That's our best. And obviously that's not going to be every day that we have to do the all like go, I'm a rock star mom either. Give yourself some slack, I think.
Yeah. Where do we get this idea of perfection from? I don't know how many moms I've talked to in the past on a daily basis, and probably will have more of these types of conversation, that they just have this level of perfection that they have to adhere to.
It's like ingrained in us.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. We were talking earlier about how it's possibly school. I mean, there's this grading system, and we have to get 100. We have to get A's, or we have to get 100% on our test, or Mom and Dad are going to be angry if I get a C. Like, I was devastated the first C I got. I thought my parents were going to ground me for life. They didn't even care. But I put that pressure on myself because all of my years prior, it was just expected to get good grades.
So now we're sort of taking that. Notice as we move through the chapters of even just this first book, everything goes, you can really find the source of things when you think about your childhood and how you were raised. And that's not to say people's parents did bad things. They did their best, right? I'm sure. But it just kind of, as a society, if we look at sort of what's bugging us and then look back to how we were raised in school and things like that, and how things went when we were younger and most impressionable, it's pretty interesting how everything goes back there.
And I think what it all kind of comes down to is just being confident in yourself and feeling your own self-worth.
You are good enough.
Nobody else can tell you that you're doing your best. Nobody else can tell you that you're an amazing mom. No, like, you have to tell yourself that and believe it. And it's not easy to get there. It takes time and it takes work, and sometimes it takes years.
Because our routine is to get that validation from other people. Right. Because perhaps that's how we were raised, and that's what it was like in school.
It's the environment that we live in today. That's just much of how society functions. But really that like self-reliance, like relying on yourself to validate yourself, which sounds crazy, but that's really where you're going to find the most growth.
And that's the only thing that matters.
It is.
Is how you feel about you. Doesn't matter how your mom feels about you. It doesn't matter how your spouse feels about you. Or
doesn't matter how Joe Schmo on the street feels about you.
Even less, because they don't know you at all.
Yeah.
So certainly don't.
That goes back to don't take things personally.
Exactly. Don't judge yourself based on Joe Schmo. That's for sure. So I think we moved through quite a bit of what the chapter is about. Did you have anything else that you personally would like to share? I know that you had said this one kind of hit you.
Yeah, this was a chapter that definitely made me tear up a little bit because I'm so hard on myself. And part of it comes with the mental issues that I deal with, and part of it just comes from I've always wanted to be a perfectionist. Like, growing up, it was not necessarily something my parents ingrained in me. Like, they were the kind of parents that just said, well, do your best. If that's your best, that's okay. But I've always somehow, it's just like a part of my personality, put so much pressure on myself. And so reading this chapter was just really relieving. Like, oh my goodness, that it's okay if all I can do today is go to my meeting with Katie and make it to my business meeting, then that's okay. Like, I don't have to try to do all of the things all in one day or the whole to-do list in one day. I can take it little bit by little bit at my own pace and do the best that I can with each task as I do them, and that's okay.
I agree with that. I meet a lot of people just in, the nature of my business. And I met this one gentleman who's still in my life. Awesome guy, really smart, older man. Older people seem to have lots of wisdom. Love listening to them talk. I know, right? And this particular gentleman, we were out actually house shopping one day, and we were having a really, really deep conversation. And he said, you know what, Katie? He's a very highly successful person. And so he said, years ago, 20 years ago maybe, when before I started my journey to my successful end where I am right now, I made myself promise that I would accomplish one big thing a day. It wouldn't be more than one big thing. It wouldn't be less than one big thing, but I would accomplish one big thing a day. And sometimes if I were sick or, whatever was going on in my life, that big thing was getting up, getting myself breakfast, making sure the family had what they needed. And that was my big thing.
That makes me think of something. We hear a lot today about self-care. And I think it's because as women and as moms, our responsibility is to care for other people. Like, that is our biggest responsibility. Yet, just like in an airplane when they tell you have to put your own mask on first,
then theirs.
It's the same thing with your day-to-day tasks. You have to take care of yourself first if you're going to be there for anyone else. If you're going to be there for your kids or your spouse or your clients. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't really be there for them.
Exactly. You can't
do
your
best. So some days that one big thing is taking care of yourself.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because if you don't eat appropriately, if you don't feed your body the nutrients it needs to function at its best, if you don't get the sleep that you need to get for your body to function at its best, you're not putting on your mask first.
Yep.
And how can you then measure up to this whole list of perfections that we attempt to measure ourselves up to?
Right.
So it's just like shooting yourself in the foot. You
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
Yeah, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Take care of yourself and then do your best.
Absolutely. So, again, we encourage some conversation. Would love to know what you guys are thinking about these discussions that Beth and I have.
Yes.
We certainly have lots of thoughts about these discussions. We are loving doing this. I don't know about you, but
I've had so much growth in the last couple of months because of this. So thank you, Katie,
you're welcome.
Taking this on with me. It's a project we didn't quite know where it was going to go, and we still don't really know where it's going to go.
We don't.
But it's been fun, and I love bringing this to other people because personal growth is so important in the scheme of life. Like, that's our purpose here, is to grow.
It's so true. And, I find myself having conversations. So us doing this has also helped with my relationship with my spouse, right? Because I find myself having conversations with my spouse. Hey, I got to meet with Beth in a couple of days, and we, here's our topic, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we end up actually having a pretty in-depth conversation. There's no judgment on either side, because I'm not bringing it up to accuse them of anything or anything like that. So we just kind of are two adults coming together, bringing our experiences and having this discussion. So it's been really helpful in that respect. Pardon me, still a little sick, so got to do the nose thing.
It's fine.
It's even been helpful with that. So that I'm really appreciative of, because again, with the whole perfection thing, I don't know. You guys raise your hand if you have the perfect relationship, but I haven't met anybody that does.
No.
It's just kind of a living, breathing, growing, changing thing. And,
and it, maybe in that moment it feels perfect, because new definition, best equals perfect.
Good new definition. I like it a lot.
Best equals perfect. So if you're doing your best in that moment, that is perfect in that moment.
Yep. I totally agree with that. So what do we have coming up next? We're getting close to the end of this book.
Yeah, so then there's just a couple sections left. I think there's only like 20 pages left in the book.
Okay.
And it's really big type on the book and like double spaced, so
it's an easy read. If you're like me, I have it on tape.
You might even be able to read it in one day. But the next couple sections are breaking old agreements, and then there's some spiritual sections in the back. But I think we'll just stick with breaking old agreements for our next video.
I agree. So we'll wrap up this book with breaking old agreements. That will be the last topic for the book. And like Beth said, there is some spiritual stuff in this book. If that's your thing, great. Not something that we're really going to discuss. But again,
it's too personal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're just working on us and, working on that whole self-judgment thing. I think it's the be-all, end-all.
Yeah. Definitely. So next time we'll be breaking old agreements. I think that'll be the first week of February, yes?
Already. Crazy.
Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. Can you guys believe it's already been almost a month? Okay, so February 5th is what I have on my calendar. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, so February 5th we will be here talking about breaking old agreements, and we'll be introducing our next topic.
Our next book.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You're going to love it. It's so exciting. I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to it for months.
Me too. Again, I've read that book too. I've read a lot of them. But anyways, I don't mind reading it over again and again and again.
Because you learn something new.
I probably
every time.
will. Exactly. Yep. And so we're excited about that. It's going to be something that's helpful with relationships, just so you know. So,
yes.
All right, guys. Peace out.
See ya.
Have an awesome Monday.
Love.